Okay. It is recording now. This is my first time recording with Zoom. But hey guys. So as you saw in the flyer, I have First Lady Huggins here. Lauren Huggins. She is an RN, birth doula, postpartum doula. I didn't even know those things actually existed. I just knew doula. So I'm really excited for this call or this video to help prepare you guys for delivery and postpartum. I know I'm going to be honest, I really didn't do that much research um, with my first child. I kind of did, but I kind of didn't at the same time, only because we had moved to a new state. And at that point, I was already in second trimester, new place, have no idea, doctors, all of that stuff. And then when we did find a hospital, we walked in to do a visit. And I was like, babe, I'm not delivering here. It looks like people die here. So then I got pushed back even further because, of course, you have to wait for when an appointment is available. We did end up finding another doctor that I felt more comfortable with. But at that point, I just felt like, I'm just taking whatever I got because I don't know anybody here. I can't even ask anybody for reviews. And I really wanted to do a water birth, and there was none available anywhere. So, but I am grateful for my hospital. I really wanted to go more of a natural way. I was like, I'm so not doing epidural. I so did. but I am grateful for my hospital because I wanted a more natural feel, someone that's not gonna push an epidural on me or keep me on my back. And even though because of the epidural I had to stay on my back, I must say the hospital that my first child was born in, they were really all about, look, you don't have to have an epidural. You don't have to have a C-section. There's other ways. You can go in different positions. And so I was really, really grateful for them. And all the nurses, well, most of the nurses were really kind. Some of the nurses never had children. And so I think they just had that attitude, like, just push. So it's not just pushing, like there's so much more into it. So I just gave a whole spiel. So welcome. Welcome, Lauren. Thank you so much. So much for doing this. So I'm gonna start off with can you explain what is a doula?
So, okay, well, I'll start with the birth doula. They're kind of the same, but the postpartum is after. So a birth doula it's a support person.
Okay.
Non-medical professional that is there to offer the mom emotional, physical, all of that educational, help. It's somebody who mothers the mother. Like, you're just in there just like cheering that mom on for whatever her plan is. So you can have a doula even if you do have an epidural or a C-section. You can still have a doula there to help you, even with the epidural, moving you in the bed and kind of getting you off your back, even though you can't move yourself. So that's the basic definition. And then a postpartum is someone who, like after you have your baby, I think there are he doulas, so I don't want to offend any men that are a doula out there.
Male nurses at my son's hospital. I was praying, God, please don't let me have no male nurses. I already don't want other women to see me, But yes, there are probably male doulas out there.
So postpartum doula is after you have your baby, she will come to your house and she will basically mother you. Like whatever you are needing for her to do, or it's like just come hold my baby so I can take a nap, or can you come and do my dishes or my laundry or whatever it is. You can, I mean, I've been a doula where I went and helped a mom who had twins just prep her bottles for the night. So you just prepping formula and putting in the refrigerator and doing her dishes and all of that so that she is set for her night. So it just depends. I've been at night, a night doula. So I've been in someone's house at night.
Yeah.
So when their baby wakes up at night, I'm there to give their baby a bottle, rock them back to sleep, and so the mom can just have like a full night's rest.
And do you have to have, like, can you do either or, birth or? Okay, cool. Well, I also wanted to do this video with you because I know you have a passion for birthing and educating women. And I feel like a lot of women sometimes might not truly educate themselves. And even if they do, there's still so much. It can become a little overwhelming. But one of the reasons also why I wanted to do this is, I don't know if you saw the video on Instagram where the doctor, she was a white doctor that spoke about how sometimes Black people really don't get the same treatment within the hospital. And I remember Beyonce and Serena Williams actually speaking out on that. Serena Williams actually saying that she was really close to death because her nurses just wasn't taking her seriously or just wasn't hearing her. So a few questions that I want to ask is, you know, one, as a mom, like, what would you consider to be like 5 most important questions, whether you're Black, Asian, whatever race you are? What are 5 most top questions to help prepare you for delivery? Like, what should you ask your doctor when you're finding out that you're pregnant and you're preparing for, you know, pregnancy? What should you ask your doctor to help educate yourself?
I would start with what like you really are wanting out of your birth, because that'll kind of help guide your questions. So if you're wanting a more natural birth, you really don't want to get a C-section, you really don't want to get an epidural unless you like absolutely have to, then I would just kind of ask like how often they do C-sections in their office, how often they do epidurals, just kind of like ask like how often they do them, because then you'll see that either they are offering it a lot more or they're a little bit more reserved, like we don't do it that often, it's last resort type of situation. Then you're like, okay, like I can trust you that you're not gonna push it on me. Also, you can find out the practices like C-section rates within your county or state.
Didn't know that.
Yeah. And the offices should have that information. And if you ask them, they should, because it's public knowledge, they should give it to you.
Did not know that. Okay.
You can ask that. And also, if you are meeting with a specific midwife, doctor, and you want them to deliver your child, then you should ask like, what is their on-call schedule?
Okay.
And that will dictate, even if they are there when you have your baby, or if they go on vacation, what's their vacation schedule? Questions like that. Because if it's a smaller practice, then more than likely it's going to be them or somebody else. But if it's a bigger practice, then it's going to be a wide range. Some practices, the midwives deliver in the hospital. And you may or may not get a visit with them beforehand. So it's kind of nice to know who's going to be delivering. Right.
Things I did not think of, didn't even know. Like I said, I just went for the flow. I just prayed that no one harmed me. I was just like,
yeah, which most people do. They're just like, okay, Jesus, just let me be
Right.
safe and my baby be healthy, and that's it.
You know, most times when you have these conversations with your mom or other women who have delivered, they just describe it as, they just talk about the pain of child labor, not this information. And again, you can't necessarily blame them as well. They might not even have known. And things have changed so much. So that's really good to know. And with me being pregnant, I'm gonna probably go check it out.
And I would ask how they feel about a doula, whether or not you're gonna get one or not. I would just see how they feel about it, because some doctors will be like, you don't need one, like,
Yeah.
not for us type thing, or
Yeah.
you know, or they'll be like, who is it, who did you hire, you know? And so like it's to get a, that's just to get a feel for how they feel about doulas. And sometimes that will dictate how a birth goes too, because if they're not on board with a doula, then it's going to be like clashing heads the whole time. So
Yeah. One thing I have learned about a doula, like you said, is, you know, you're mothering a mother. And it helps a lot with your voice being heard within the hospital. Like I said, that video that the doctor did, talking about, you know, some women really aren't heard in the hospital because sometimes of their race, sometimes they're just not even taken seriously. So I really like again, that we're doing this to help educate and for you to feel prepared, even if you don't get a doula. These are some of the questions that you can ask. Another thing I would like to know, like, what should you ask when looking for a birthing center or hospital? I know in particular for me, my doctor, I could have only birthed at the hospitals that she worked at. I couldn't go anywhere else. So even if there was a birthing center available, I couldn't do it. And though the hospital allowed you to birth in different ways, her her explanation to me was, we were only trained to birth you on your back. So I couldn't birth any other way. So I was really disappointed because I did want to try, you know, different things. So I'm going into another question. So I'll ask this question first. First of all, when I meet with a doctor, could I change my doctor
yes,
eventually, like at any point?
any point, pretty much
Okay.
any point you can change your doctor. I've heard of people like changing in their last weeks, so you can change whenever.
I wanted to. I loved her as a person, but as a doctor, when I would go there, first of all, your pregnancy brain, you forget things. And so I'm praying on this whole video chat that I'm not like mumbling my words or going backwards. But every time I would meet with her, you know, it was rushed because she was kind of like a private doctor and her office was always full. So of course, when I left, I was like, oh, shoot, I forgot to ask this question. So I started writing down my questions when I would go to her. So I did like her, but I did want to change, but I didn't know if I could even do that. So I didn't really push for the birth that I really wanted. But that's good to know that you can change at any point.
And
So,
you would see a difference between a doctor and a midwife.
okay.
Because the midwife would have given you probably more time
Yeah.
and just like gave you time to like think of your questions.
Yeah.
Doctors sometimes they have like that time limit, you know, like because they're so busy and it's a demand on them. So yeah, it's a little bit different.
I felt that with her. And she, like I said, she was really sweet and she tried, you know, but you can tell, like, you know.
Yeah.
So when you are looking at a hospital, when you're doing that initial, I forgot what it's called, when you're visiting the hospital that you'll deliver at or birthing center, what are some things that you should be asking when you're there?
One of the questions is, how can I give birth? Like any position, or does it have to be strictly in the bed? Or, I guess try to figure out if you can position not on your back. Another question is, can you labor in the tub? And can you actually give birth in the tub? Because some places will let you labor in the tub, but you have to get out.
That was my hospital. Yeah.
I mean, how can you make somebody get out? But
well, I was confused about that. So I didn't even do it. Well, I didn't even have a tub in my room. It was a shower. So they did say I can have the shower run on my back, but then I just was like, that's so weird to start off. I mean, if the baby's coming, I don't want to move, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There was something.
Oh, also, I would ask what resources they have for breastfeeding.
Oh, yes.
So whether it is a birthing center or hospital, just to know, do they have a lactation consultant available, or do they help you, or anything like that, so that you can kind of have some sort of game plan for when baby gets here, because it's not always easy.
And again, with my hospital, I enjoyed my hospital. They were all for mother's milk and educating you on that. I did have a lactation consultant. I actually had two that came into the room that showed me. I thank God my son was a great latch. He just latched on. Like right after he came out the womb, he latched on. But that was really, they were really educational at my hospital. I really enjoyed them a lot. So you're right. That is a good question to ask, because sometimes it really isn't available. So guys, this is part one. We got to getting to the hospital, and the next part two would be actually delivering and postpartum. So be sure to watch that video. Okay.